Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Roush, and welcome back to the Pokemon Speedrunners Draft League. This is Week 8 Team Builder, Huntsville Heatran versus the RazorBlades, coached by CHGJake. So, yeah, we're getting to the point in the season where we're starting to rematch all of our divisional rivals. And then there'll be a couple of battles versus our opposite division. But, yeah, for this week, we are facing off against the RazorBlades. But let's go ahead and take a look at my team first. Excuse me. You guys ought to know from last season and this season that I don't really like making team trades or free agent changes, unless I feel like they're absolutely necessary. Because for the most part, I do all of my prep for during the draft. Like, I know exactly what I need during draft, and so far this season I haven't found any reason to make any changes. Now I do have 2 weeks to decide, actually 1 week after from when this video is coming out, so 1 week to make any more free agent transactions or trades. But so far I'm just not seeing anything that really catches my eye that would enable me to really better the team. The only thing that I could possibly trade is Claydol, but nothing performs the role that Claydol does for this team, which is in case I want to bring sticky webs. That's really what it boils down to, is I don't have any holes that I'm trying to fill. Especially because now all of a sudden Xurkitree's looking better and better now that I found an opening for it. So it's a really useful backup cleaner. So Zygarde would be the #1 thing that I would drop, but I don't want to because I'd rather have it myself. I'd rather have it myself and not have to face up against it, even though I do have Tangrowth, which is one of the best Zygarde counters in the format. But you know what? I digress. So Zygarde, Tangrowth, Sylveon still. Sylveon has been pretty decent throughout the season. I wasn't expecting it to get as many kills. It's not supporting as much as Florges did for me last year, but in terms of an offensive presence, I feel like it's arguably doing more, especially because Pixelate is a fantastic ability. And Polion is done a pretty decent job this season as my bulky water type. Claydol has been okay at best. Obviously, I'm not too concerned with differential on that because it's just supposed to rapid spin things and pretty much die. Same with Shuckle, it's supposed to set things and pretty much die. Mega Glade is supposed to kill everything, and so far it's doing a pretty darn good job of that. Crobat so far has been more of a stall breaker type, which is kind of what I expected, something fast that could possibly be a revenge option. So far it hasn't done that, but it has done the Stallbreaker role surprisingly well. Even though it doesn't have any kills, it has been a nice piece to hold in the back of my team. Incineroar has been a very decent tank. It's pretty darn bulky. Bulkier than even I was expecting. I knew its stats coming in, but it's done a pretty good job for me so far. Hasn't gotten any kills, but it has tanked a lot of damage, which is exactly what you want to see out of your tank. And it's gotten some decent chip, too. Xurkitree, like I said, didn't really do anything until last week, but getting that nice 3-kill sweep off of the slightly unorthodox set was very nice to see. And then lastly, Greninja, who really has not done too much since week 1, also against Jake, so I don't know. It's fine. It's fast. It's applied pressure at the back. It's been used for momentum. It just hasn't really gotten kills because most of them have gone to Gallade since then. But I digress. So, taking a look at Jake's team, and since losing 4-0 to me, he has had some very interesting, shall we say, matches. Gotten 3 wins, one against our divisional rivals apiece, the New York Megas and the Midwest Mawwiles, also picking up a win over the Blackpool Blastoise, whom we haven't seen, and the Jimboombin Jigglypuffs, whom I expect to see in playoffs. After all, if you take a look, he is the #1 ranked opponent. He is the only one ahead of me. And I will do a playoffs preview video coming up here in the next couple weeks, and I'll do a countdown to playoffs, maybe the last 3 weeks, just to build hype for that as well. So, taking a look at Jake's team, Victini, which is the #1 thing that I was scared of the first time I built for Jake, still exists. It's still there. Metagross is still there. It can be a threat. It's honestly, I don't care about it as much. My team is just bulky enough and has the right defensive typing that Metagross isn't really much of a bother. Chandelure, however, can be a bother if I let it get too far, but I do have a couple of dual resists to its Dual Stab, that being my Dark types, so I'm not too concerned with it. Jellicent, same situation. I do have resist to its Dual Stab with Greninja. I also have Tangrowth, which is really good against water types, especially the bulky water types, because I do have options for Leech Seeds. So that base 100 HP can end up being turned against it. Rhyperior's got the same situation, a lot of HP. Tangrowth really doesn't care. Tangrowth kills pretty early. Greninja kills pretty early. To see, yes. Anybody else? Empoleon kills pretty early. Exeggutor has been brought once. He brought a Sunny Day set, but honestly, I'm not too concerned with it because I do have stuff like Greninja that can outspeed Exeggutor if I'm Scarfed, even with a Chlorophyll boost. So I'm not worried about that. Mega Absol, I am kind of worried about that because he hasn't really learned how to use it, and if he somehow manages to learn how to use Mega Absol this week, that could end up being a real problem for me. Then we have, let's see, Chandelure, Mega Absol, Donphan. Oh, Donphan. Most likely going to be brought Setting Rocks over Rhyperior just because I ended up giving him quite a problem last time with my bulky water types, and Donphan just has a better matchup against both of them, especially thanks to having a little bit of priority at the back end and having the Earthquake, which is super effective on my Empoleon, even though I didn't bring Empoleon last time. Whimsicott, I expect Whimsicott to be brought because of A, its speed tier, and B, the Prankster ability, so he could probably suspect me to try and set up on some things and catch me with the Fire, the Encore, not Power Fire, disregard. Escavalier was a huge problem for me last time, and I expect it to kind of be a huge problem for me again, so I do need to be careful to make sure that Trick Room does not get set too easily, and then I will be able to deal with the Escavalier. But the Azumarill is also an option for him this week. So Azumarill is scary because of its coverage. Choice Banded, Aqua Jet, Knockoff, Play Rough, and Superpower is honestly the combo that scares me the most, just because I do have a fairly significant fighting weakness, and other than that, there's not really a lot of fighting move coverage. There's a couple of Brick Breakers here and there, but nobody really gets Focus Blast. Well, Victini gets Focus Blast and Brick Break. Metagross gets Brick Break. But other than that, there's not too many fighting types, so I expect fighting coverage on Azu. So expect me to play like he will be bringing that kind of coverage this week. Alright, so that's Jake's team. Let's go ahead and talk about my group of guys. So, we're going to lead off here with my Empoleon. This is the wrong map. Let's try that one. Okay, so my Empoleon is going to be brought this week. This is merchandising. Especially defensive, just because I want to deal with the likes of Jellicent much better. Flash Cannon Scald, Defog, and Stealth Rocks. I know this isn't exactly built to hit the Jellicent, but this can be used to stall out Trick Room under it. This is also fairly decent against Chandelure especially, but also potential for Exeggutor, hitting it with a Flash Cannon. What was the other thing I was worried about? I had one other mon that I was trying to check with this. Whimsicott, yes, there we go. That's the biggie. Whimsicott, and I also resist most of Escavalier's moves with Empoleon, so physical bulk wasn't as big a deal. But definitely for Whimsicott and for Chandelure, and also special variants of Victini, I didn't want to get caught off guard by a Focus Blast special attacking set. So this is going to be used more likely as a lead, because I don't care about getting Toxic off of a Whimsicott. I can get up Stealth Rocks. I don't care too badly about getting Encored into them, because I do have another decent switch in to Whimsicott, so I'm not too concerned about what all that thing can do. Also, it can't put me to sleep, can it? I don't think it can, but so Empoleon is going to be mainly there because I expect Whimsicott to come, because it can be a problem if I am not careful. Sleep powder. That is correct. No sleep powder. Yeah, so Whimsicott can't put me to sleep anyway. It can paralyze me, but, you know, paralyzing isn't the worst thing in the world. So that's going to be Empoleon this week. Next up, I am bringing Lone Star. So, Incineroar, Darkest Lariat, Earthquake, U-Turn, Fire Punch with the Assault Vest. This thing is mainly going to be Victini check, because it will tank hits on both sides. I am EV'd to outspeed... which one was it? Was it Uninvested Metagross? No, it wasn't. What were you? You are speed crept for something. What was it? It's not Exeggutor. Maybe it was Min Chandelure. Yes, Min minus Chandelure. Yes, that's what it is. Min minus Chandelure. Darkest Lariat, Earthquake, U-Turn, Fire Punch. For coverage, Fire Punch is there obviously for the Escavalier, for the Whimsicott, and because it's Fire Stab. Darkest Lariat because it hits Victini, hits Metagross, hits Chandelure, hits Jellicent. Earthquake is there mainly because it hits Rhyperior. I don't expect it to be doing too much. I do expect U-Turn out on most of that. And U-Turn is going to be really important because I kind of want to keep Incineroar around for a little bit. So if I feel like he's going to hard switch into an unfavorable matchup, I can use my slow pivot, get the heck out of dodge. Continuing on with my more bulky sets, I am going to bring the Schwartz again. Pretty much the same set that I brought the first time around, just because keeping the physical types at bay is super important, and I think that's another reason why I had Empoleon be especially defensive. Is because once Reflect gets up, there is not too much damage that stuff like Escavalier will be able to do. Hyper Voice is there because it's Fairy move, Reflect is there because it's support move, Wish Protect because it'll keep my bulky Mons healthy, especially because they don't have forms of recovery this week on their own, so that is a huge scenario. So really basic, not too much to talk about here. Checks Exeggutor, checks Rhyperior, checks Donphan, checks Azu if need be, but I need to be very careful of Belly Drum set, because if I'm not paying attention, that thing could just in fact sweep my team. But I do have another check to Azu in the form of AV Tangrowth. So Assault Vest, kind of weird. As you can see, I'm max Fizz Bulk. That's because I don't want to get caught off guard by Mega Absol, and I also want to help take care of Escavalier. So I do want as much bulk as possible. Hidden Power Fire, actually, you know what? Let's drop that into the special attack, please. There we go. So Sludge Bomb is there because of Whimsicott again. Earthquake is there because of Victini, because of Metagross, and because of Chandelure. Giga Drain is there because of Rhyperior, because of Donphan, because of Azumarill. Hidden Power Fire is there basically because Escavalier is a thing, and I don't want to get caught flat-footed again like I was the first time around. So Tangrowth is, again, another sponge. So I have a lot of sponges in the early half of my team. But then I do have some offensive threats. So we are bringing, in my opinion, the hilarious set of Normalium Z Mind Reader Greninja. So what's going to happen is Greninja is faster than his entire team. Mind Reader with the Z Crystal raises your special attack by 1 stage. So I can get essentially Choice Specs, Hydro Pump that is guaranteed to hit with the Mind Reader. Hidden Power Fire is there for the Escavalier mainly, but can also strike the Whimsicott as well. Dark Pulse is there because, once again, Dark is fantastic coverage versus my opponent, and Hydro Pump is there because it hits everything else, and yeah, it's just really strong. So this set is hard countered by Azumarill, so I do need to be careful to make sure that Azu is out of the way before getting set up with this Mon. But I do have an alternative sweeper this week, and that is Nasty Bat. So I finally decided to break it out. I was looking at the team matchups. I really wanted to bring Nasty Bat, but then it turned out I have 4 move slot syndrome, so I had to pick which Mon I couldn't beat 1v1. So in the end, I went with, what did I choose? I think I chose Victini? Is that the one? Yes. So Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Heat Wave, Nasty Plot. Sludge Bomb is there because it does great damage to the Whimsicott, to the Azumarill, to the Exeggutor, to the Mega Absol, even at +2. Does a tremendous amount of damage. It's also my best move to hit Victini on this set. Heat Wave is there for the Metagross, for the Escavalier, who would normally be immune to my Stab Sledge Bams, and, Chandelure, I guess, as well, wasn't it? Chandelure. Yeah. I went with Heat Wave over Dark Pulse. But Giga Drain is there for the ground types that would normally want to switch into Crobat. So if I get Stealth Rocks up, the likes of Donphan and Rhyperior are not going to want to be tanking +2 Giga Drains. So having Rocks on the field with Empoleon is going to end up being really important this week. So that is Princess Vespa, the Nasty Bat. Black Sludge is there for longevity. I was floating back and forth between Expert Belt and Black Sludge, but when it came time for practice, most of the times Crobat benefited from having that extra little bit of recovery on its own. So it got neutered, it neutered burns and also helped just in case Stealth Rocks were set on the opposite side of the field, and I wasn't able to get them set back up with Empoleon. So, or wasn't able to clear them with Empoleon. So yeah, that's going to be my team for this week. Match will be up later today, guaranteed. And I will see y'all then. Roush is out. Peace.